My name is Felicia Paul. I'm here to discuss divorces. I wanted to go over a few different things about a divorce. First, the different things that we'll be talking about today is what a divorce is, the general requirements about a divorce, requirements in Maryland, steps to getting in a divorce, the different steps that you can do to actually get out of a divorce. Some divorce statistics now that's happening in the United States, some reasons why divorce is happening, some examples from celebrities, and then I'm going to summarize everything. So now let's talk a little bit about what a divorce is. A divorce, the actual definition, is a permanent legal end of a marriage, which means when two people that are together by marriage decide to be separated.